Hey, relax. Hmm. So I'm here at the IHOP office in Boone, North Carolina. And I have to say, IHOP is a great institution, you know, and I know it. And they're very nice here. Sometimes we get a little stressed. Because normally it's like one of these things when there are a lot of people, then there aren't a lot of people. So it's like the military. They're really bored or they're really in the thick of it. Um, Here's another just touching base with you guys. Seeing who's let's see, Rhonda. What's shaking, Rhonda? Tell me a story. I'm heading back to Virginia. It's starting to rain now. Uh, uh, so I'm expecting a friend to show up, but people are always so busy. I'm the one person who is always on time, always waiting. And that's why, because I always have something new, like, right, ooh, look at the new book. Ooh, I've got this at the Dollar Tree. It's like, ooh, ooh, time tunnel. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yep. So, what's shaking? What's shaking bacon? Let's see. So I've been writing novels. I've gotten almost two done since I've been here. I finished one kind of completely. Ba, 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 ba. Poor baby doll. So the one I'm working on now. Whoops, gotta go the other way. Uh, it's called The Moral Majority Family Values Broken Girl Black Widow Hot Pants. Yep. Let's see. Broken Girl Body Dysmorphia of the Soul. I think that's kind of what we got going on here. Broken Girl Body Dysmorphia of the Soul. Love is the language in which God speaks. But when we listen with our love's co creation to love's voice of empathy, it is our heart that composes love. In, in, com, and composes and all there is love. All else is illusion of the ego. And that's basically, one of my major. Oh, there's Rhonda, really. Ooh, let's see. Oh, there's Sean, 365. Yeah. Main court saying, hurry up and wait. Yep. Rhonda just got back from New York. How was New York? I love the Dollar Tree, my favorite, because everything is a dollar. Uh, let's see. Uh, yeah, I'm a fast ride. Well, what else do we got to do? I sit under a tree with my trusty laptop, my HP, and I just write away. Comes right out of the tips of my fingers. I used to be part of the Theosophical Society, and Alice Valley was part of that. And I used to be part of a thing upstate New York. The Theosophical Society has a really nice retreat. It's called Pumpkin Hollow. And when they learned I was a handy guy and I could cook and I could, was a massage, you know, guru and, you know, shiatsu master, That's kind of where I was at. And so anyway, when I was up there, there were a number of people who were doing autonomic writing, right? But they were doing it in these big tombs. They were continuing Madame Blavatsky's works from the other side. So, I mean, that was one of the places where I really learned how to cue into the the other side, go into state, go see, find my. I mean, the first person to ever turn me on to this was this Indian guy that I met for like 20 minutes, and he was just like, ding, put me into the universe. Did you ever see that scene from Doctor Strange where he finally goes and meets his master, right? The one who lives forever, the bald-headed girl, or is it a guy? Anyway, and so, he's still all full of himself, but he just wants somebody to fix his hand so he can go back being surgical, Doctor Strange, surgical, dude. And so she just says, "Oh, really?" Like that, and he shoots at the end of the universe, and then the other end, and she just bounced them back and forth like ping pong ball. I had hung around people like Madame Olga Kluver, who obviously was, a shaman, because she had this portal right in her curiosity shop on Lexington Avenue in New York. And there were a lot of portals in New York. There still are. And that's one reason why, that scene from Men in Black, when they go in through the air vent for the Manhattan Bridge. No, that's exactly what that is. That is the front door to that place. I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, if you go to the Battery, the park, sit yourself down on a park bench, around 11 o'clock at night, and stay there. You will watch very strange people come out of that metal box in the park of the Battery. Oh. So I'll read a little bit more of Rama cannot understand why her life sucks so much. She had raped her web around the richest man's. There he is. Just waiting for him. Here, let me. Oh, you push this. Slide in and push my way. Okay, whoa. Okay.
Sorry, I'm late.
Hey, don't worry about it. Hey, this is my office. I can just hang and so. This is me being an anthropologist with a tribe of Aborigines. And see, kids, there's the picture right here. That's me being the Aborigines. And this right here is my dingo dog. You've heard of dingoes, right?
Yeah, yes.
Being spirit guides.
Yeah,
no, they're more than wild dogs. They are spirit guides. And there he is. He's trying to drag me into another frame of reference. And see this woman? See all these people? This was the tribe of the Walamajiri. And they lived in the Nukumba, which is a northern territory up near Alice Springs. They're like Alice Springs up here. Broome is here, Alice Springs, and then Ayers Rock, and then these people right here. Almost dead center in the middle of Australia, right? 900 miles in any direction is nobody, right? So they had a tribe of about 700 people, and then the corporations, and that's what Australia is, one big corporation.
Yes.
And so are we, but we make a better gist of it. And so they just went out and shot everyone in the head. They didn't say, "Oh, here, get on the bus. We're going to take you to some other place."
When was this?
1971. And I was there in 1977. I spent about a year with these guys. And this is all that these people were out like picking berries, so they didn't get shot in the head. And this woman was a little girl when it happened, or a teenager. and they took her and sent her off to school in Sydney, and she didn't like it. And she became a nurse and didn't like it. Came back, take care of these folks. All these people in their 90s.
Wow.
Look at them.
They look great.
She was in her early 30s.
Wow.
See, she has a baby.
Wow.
She got pregnant. There was no one there to make her pregnant. She had a virgin birth.
Right.
And look at the kid's head. What does he have around that head?
Yeah.
It's called a halo.
Yeah.
He had lights. He could make. And guess how old this baby is?
No idea.
Take a look.
I'd say he's probably like 14 months, maybe
4 months.
16. Wow.
I mean, he was walking.
Big baby.
He was walking.
Yeah.
I mean, he was Jesus.
Wow.
Have you ever met Jesus? I've met Jesus a number of times. Jesus didn't die and come back.
Oh, yeah.
You got great teeth.
Thanks, man.
You
Well,
really-
my parents spent a little bit on that.
See, I had no teeth.
Oh, wow. Well,
So that's for you.
thank you.
And that represents, these are pictures of Asheville in
Yeah.
Florida. So that's Florida. That's where I lived. That's my little place in the Keys that I had.
Nice, man.
Yes. Well, when you're working for the corporate man, you can
That's when you're working for the man.
say hi to the gang.
Hey. Little live stream here.
Yep.
So where in the Keys was this?
Right above Marathon.
Um,
In a place, there's a place called, Grassy Pine Key, but this isn't it. But it's kind of what Grassy Pine was before that other place became it.
right.
And it kind of doesn't have a name anymore.
Yeah. Wow.
And there were all of these really interesting 1950s hotels,
yeah.
like little just,
Right.
12 rooms, right? And there was a place called Bahia Honda.
That's my favorite spot in the Keys.
Did you ever go camping there?
No, I drove through and we hung out on a beach for a little bit, but we
So
never-
Bahia Honda, I used to go there back in the day in the 60s, where you just showed up, right?
Yeah.
No one was down there because before they built the super highway across the Keys, there was a death-defying road that used to be a railroad track.
yeah, you can still see some of the bridges.
Oh yeah,
on
yeah,
the
right,
line.
right,
Yeah,
back in
it's
the
like
day, right. And so this is Asheville.
Your Ash Vegas
Yeah,
days.
yeah. This is me at 50. And I was the dude then. Because there was nobody there.
El Deuterino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, so this was Asheville in like the
91 to, I
91.
left in 99.
Yeah,
91 to 99.
it was a different place then, man.
Oh, there was nobody there. See all you could sleep on Broadway,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And-
Mr. Price and
Yeah,
his
Julian, I
friends
worked for
were-
Julian. I was his videographer.
Yeah, they were very successful in that little endeavor.
And well, but he went, Julian was like Midas. He wanted to spend his money and make things better.
Right.
He just spent his money and he made more.
Yeah.
No matter how hard he tried, he bought this building called the Public Service Building, which it had been, right,
Mhm.
back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And then he put all of these nonprofits in it,
Yeah,
right?
he used like real estate investment trust or
Right,
something.
right.
It was like really forward.
Oh, he was,
super progressive.
right,
thing,
but his
from what I can
his
tell.
lawyer was scum.
Um,
Not
That's
scum.
just-
He was a lawyer.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to work for lawyers, so I kind of know them. And there's a place called the Orange Peel.
yeah, the Orange Peel, I remember that.
He started, meaning I brought him in there, and I was going to turn it into a nightclub, and then he died.
Yeah.
And then things changed, and I said, okay, on to the next. But his lawyer went and bought the building.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean-
we know how that story ended.
So,
right?
Julian, I, and the lawyer are in there, and the pigeons are flying everywhere, and the guy said, what, and I was just 2 blocks from there was this thing called Eagles.
Oh, I'm good for the time being, but thank you, man. Yeah,
Want anything to eat or drink or?
I think I'm good, man. I
Okay.
had a late breakfast today.
Mhm.
I got back from Charlottesville at
So
11 o'clock last
have you
night.
hit a place where they're bulldozing the buildings?
No, I haven't gotten there yet.
So there's this. So what made the rich Biltmore's, Astors, railroads? That's what made the place the Paris of the South.
Sure.
The other thing that made it, it was the center of patent medicine, of herbal medicine on planet. The Blue Ridge Parkway, the Blue Ridge Mountains have more flora and fauna to
That's
heal
true.
things than any place else, more than South America,
Yeah.
way more than.
It's one of the most biodiverse regions on this
It
planet.
is.
You
It
know, when
is.
it's left alone.
Right.
You know, just,
And they're destroying it before our very eyes. I mean, Asheville is a perfect example. So Broadway, that went from downtown, and Broadway is like many different. It's Merriman Avenue, it's Broadway, it's this, it's that, right?
Yep.
And because when they built 240, they kind of smudged the roads around, right?
Yep.
That used to be this guy's driveway,
Yeah.
right? That went from downtown all the way over to where UNCA is, right?
Sure.
And that used to be his school of herbal medicine.
Yeah.
And when he died, he left it to the city.
Yep.
He left so many healing herbs, and there's a stream. And he had these little bungalows that he has. Have you come to the place where they build those things yet?
I don't think so. I mean, the black and white pictures.
So
Boat.
I'll give you a tour after you finish coming through them all. And
Boy,
so
that street looks different now. That's right at Pack Place.
yeah. So there was nobody there, and these kids
No.
came from New York City, and I knew them because I ran CBGB's,
CBGB's right.
which
yeah.
is the punk
Sure.
Valhalla,
Oh, yeah,
right?
the Police and
Right.
Blondie and
Yeah, all those
kids came
guys.
through
Right,
there.
right.
Where were they pulling it down at?
Here, I'll show you.
It's those pictures. Maybe it's in another book.
No. Here's one of my paintings. Shows my painting skills.
That's lovely, man.
Yep.
It's very nice work.
Yep. No, maybe it's in this one.
I didn't see any demolition shots.
Yep.
but-
Maybe. Here are my parents.
Nice.
My mom was Adolf Hitler, and my dad, he was somewhere between Dr. Jekyll and. So here is this place that was just up the street from Grove Park Inn.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had a rent-controlled apartment. There were no rent. I had a rent-controlled apartment, $38 for a 3-bedroom kitchen, and it paid my gas and electricity.
That's amazing.
I just rolled in, said for rent, called the number. I waited. The guy showed up, and that's what my apartment looked like.
Wow, that's a nice spot.
So I used to have salons there.
Yeah.
See, this is, I mean, the whole scene, that's the hipster scene, came out of this living room.
That's a nice spot. I mean, $38 a month.
Yep. And gas and electricity included. You
You
can't,
can't get internet service for $38 a month in an apartment.
yes.
Yes, let
Right.
alone a 3-bedroom apartment.
Yep. And
It's all order.
a garage with 2 parking spots. The only reason why no one liked that place was full of these old ladies who 3 of them were really nice, and I used to carry their groceries up for them.
Yes.
And then 2 of them were like, "Hey, don't touch my bags," right? And there was a gigantic, here it is. So here's this street, right? This was Broadway. That's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And it was still the guy's driveway. And these are these little things that people lived in, right? Lived in, right? And all they did was showed up with a bulldozer and took them down.
Oh, yeah, Broadway is a different spot.
Right? It's now a
man.
4-lane highway.
Yeah,
Yep.
hospitals,
Right.
and car
Yeah,
dealerships.
right. Yo, and this lady owned it, and they just parked this in her driveway and put plywood over her door, and she owned that. The other ones were
yeah,
a little skiffy,
right.
and when she couldn't, and she kept parking her car on the sidewalk, and they kept giving her $100 tickets, and then they took her car away, and
How old was she?
40 something.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because she tried to find this one of the, and because it was on the other side of the stream, that was the last one to go. But they had a bunch of this. And
Was this the city?
the city did it? Yeah,
Did they condemn her house?
yeah. They just, but there was nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
You know? And the DOT, it was really the state DOT that did this.
Oh yeah.
Not the
So,
city, not
so
the city.
eminent domain.
Right, right, right. It just, and that woman, she went and bought that house. She was a environmental teacher at Roanoke, right? And I mean at PhD
Yeah.
at Duke, and so she burnt her, and she wouldn't let anybody, she delegate,
Right.
right? And so she basically had a heart attack at like 28. They would like killed her, and then and they meaning by putting the bulldozer there and then just run it so the fumes would go into her house, and
I sat on a jury for an eminent domain case here in Boone, and it was the guy that owns. We owned this in town, and he had strategically bought up this property like right across from his business, and he knew this development was going in, and he was the last piece, and would have gone to this development, but the state condemned it to do the road project down there, and they offered him like 107. They paid him 171,000 or something ridiculous, something like half to a quarter of what it should have been,
right.
And I voted to give him like 3 times that amount and more, but there was one that pulled out on a jury. But anyway, I learned a lot about eminent domain. None of it was particularly attractive.
Basically, we live in a corporate state.
Yeah.
And we have no rights, and we're chattel, and we're owned. Your birth certificate. Do you know about admiralty law?
Mm-mm.
So you go into a courtroom. There's 2 American flags.
Mm-hmm.
One has gold fringe around it.
Mm-hmm.
The other one doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
That is for civil law,
Mm-hmm.
and the other is for corporate law, which is everything else.
Interesting.
And that's so when you're born and you're given a birth certificate, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you are is a boat.
Yeah.
And when a ship comes in and berths into a city like New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the harbor master gives them a birth certificate,
Interesting.
and the harbor master owns that boat and everything on it until they pay the harbor master his due.
That's what they call them, berths. Even on a ship, they're still berths.
Yes.
Like the rooms are all, you can call it berths.
And that's because you're owned.
Wow.
And so you go look up admiralty law. There's a guy named, what's his name?
It's like Americans are free to do anything but get dual citizenship. Don't try that.
Right.
There's only one nation for you, my friend.
Right.
You're not ours.
Right. Right. We own you.
You're free, but don't try to leave.
No,
this
you're not
nation.
free at all. You can go in the supermarket and there's 6,000 different types of toilet paper, all made by the same company but different names.
Right. Yeah.
My mom, that picture of I said that she's Adolf Hitler. My dad was in the Air Force, right? And so he was a colonel. He bird colonel, highest you're going to get. Didn't fly airplanes. So he was never going to be a general. So he was never going to make the big bucks. He had the nice big house. He had the chauffeur. He had, right? My mom liked that up to a point. He said, I want money. Yeah, this is nice, but we have to. So they moved 24 times.
Wow.
My dad was a triple Virgo, super organizer,
Very perfectionistic.
and he was really good.
Yeah.
So he was, but he like World War II, he got over 80 air wings together,
Wow.
and then administrated them from where he was in Europe.
Quite the talented organizer.
But he'd be up there, okay, boys, you're going here. And they go, oh. And he sent whole wings off to bomb Germany where they didn't come back that day.
Right.
They lost 20,000 people in a day.
Yeah.
The Air Force lost more people per capita
Yeah.
than any other wing,
Yes.
They
did. That's why the Memphis Belle was such a big deal. I think that plane made
32 flights.
32 flights, which was statistically
Unbelievably. They should be dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
They defied all the
because they
odds.
showed up early when they said, okay, I got to do 50. And, and by the time they did 32, they had cut it back to 17.
17, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my dad was that. So he was really traumatized because he didn't go off and see it, but he would be there when they came back, and the guys their heads would be blown off. And
I had a friend whose father was he was like a belly gunner or something on one of the B-17s.
Yes, and that's a death because if the pneumatics went out, they couldn't get you out. If the wheels didn't go
And
down,
you
you
were-
were crushed.
Plexiglass with airplanes
Right.
firing 50 caliber
Or machine
Archer,
or cannon.
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 Yeah. So, and you're in plexiglass, right? 20 some thousand.
And you're hanging out there.
Just totally exposed. So he didn't like to sleep, and he wouldn't go in for this knee surgery because they were gonna put him under anesthesia. And his son,
Right.
my friend, finally talked him into it, and he kind of wasn't totally forthcoming to his father about the fact they were going to put him under.
And so when he went under, he went back into
that's it. He was like, right before he passed out, he was like, "You're going to send me back up there," and then he passed out.
Yep.
And this was 40 years later.
Yep.
Never got over it.
And then no one gets over
No
it.
one gets it.
I spent, it's very interesting with the opiate addictions that is going on now, right?
Yeah.
In that, when my draft board caught up to me, I never broke the law. I never did anything. I just was hard to find. Where is it? He was just here.
He was just here a minute ago.
I don't know where he is. I'd be like on the other side of the country by then,
Yeah.
right? Anyway, they finally caught up to me, and they had a stack of, file on me. And the guy goes, Al, we don't think we can trust you with a gun. So how'd you like to do alternative service? I said, hey, sign me up.
Right.
And it was right before the roulette wheel of choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I signed up, and I went to work at Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn. And the guy who ran the whole thing, Colonel Marine, about 70-something years old, he had been in the Philippines when the Japanese overran them, and he didn't go on the death march. He went up in the mountains and hung with the freedom fighters.
The Indigenos.
Right. And so he was a surgeon, but he was up there with a psychic healer, a Filipino psychic healer who would just go like this and reach in and pull the bullets out, and a Chinese herbalist. So he was 2 years with those guys before Moron Boy showed back up, and maybe even longer. And so when he came out, he got all kinds of medals and everything, and he was, wow, you're really great, so you can do whatever you want. So he stayed in China and learned Chinese and studied, because they were our ally, and studied
wellness.
Right, all of their disciplines of healing, right?
Yeah.
Then he went off and got a PhD. That's why I became an anthropologist. Said, oh, you need to do this. So anyway, there I was, just a bedpan guy, wearing a Hawaiian shirt and mirrored sunglasses and hair down to my butt, and cowboy boots and shorts, driving a motorcycle. And he walks in, and everyone comes to, he's the head guy, the colonel. He walks over to me, goes, Al, I've been watching. I knew who he was, but no one even talked to me. Even other bedpan guys didn't talk to me because I was just too weird.
And now, where were you at? You were stateside.
I was in Brooklyn. I was at Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn. And he goes, you're going to be my protege. And I was like, what? I said, you're a surgeon. You got to go in there. I don't even clean underneath my fingers. No, you don't understand. I go, I'm a freak. And he goes, well, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm going to send you off to all of these people I know, and they're going to train you. And that's how I became a shaman. That's how I became a healer. That's how I learned Chinese medicine. That's how I learned 100 of the different disciplines that people come to me and go, oh, teach me this in a weekend and give me a little certificate. No. I had to go live with these. So 2.5 of those 6 years, I was hanging out all over America with these folk, learning this stuff, right? Then I come back and we start a protocol. And our biggest thing, what I had to deal with were guys who came back from Vietnam. They were basketball stars in high school 1 year and no legs the next. Like Lieutenant Dan.
Exactly,
he was a perfect example of what that was, right?
Yeah. Or Bubba.
Right. Well, Bubba died.
He did. He didn't make it out.
He didn't make it out.
A lot of those kids came
didn't
back
make in a box, yes. And they already were, meaning when they put you on the airplane, so they get blown up, they take you to Japan, they stabilize you, and then they fly you back to the States. Well, that flight, they knock you out with morphine. And that 48-hour flight gets you down the staircase of addiction.
Yes.
Just that.
Because the opium that's paying the bills in Vietnam,
Right.
that's how they're funding that war.
Well, the war was all about three things:
Yeah.
opium
Yeah.
and oil
Yeah.
and tourism.
Yeah.
Right. And they're
And
just
that started before, like in 1851.
Right,
The British
exactly.
forced it open
Yep.
until the Chinese, when they were trying to stop the
Right.
opium trade, said, "Oh no, you're going to have an opium trade. We're going to control it,
Mhm.
and if not, we're going to like open fire on your ports."
Right.
Yeah, that's how that went.
yes,
down.
that was
yeah.
a Boxer Rebellion.
Yeah.
And people, when they hear about the opium wars, they think China was trying to force opium on Europe.
Yeah.
Like, no.
You know, they were trying to stop it.
Right. And they were getting the opium from India.
Yes.
That's where it came from.
Yeah.
And people don't realize how much Afghanistan is India.
Yeah.
And the only people who ever stopped the English growing of poppy in Afghanistan was the Taliban.
Yeah.
The only guys who stopped it ever. And that's one of the reasons we went and whacked them, because they were getting in our business.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
No, there's a lot of opium grown in that. In Kashmir too.
Right,
That's
right,
another spot.
Right. But it's all real India. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
culturally India.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Pakistan was split off of India,
Yes.
so that they could have a NATO country,
Right.
because India went Warsaw Pact because they had China and the Soviet Union as
Right on
members.
the-
So like,
right.
what are we going to be, NATO?
right.
You know?
Plus, they split, the Muslims and the Hindus.
Yeah.
So, India,
Yeah.
Hindu, Pakistan, Muslim.
Um,
So, yes, this is all the above. But what I saw that was very interesting. So, we developed a protocol because all these kids, first we had to get them off of heroin,
yeah.
but that part of their brain was totally, there's an acupuncture spot in the ear
Mhm.
that we would put a earring in, keep it there, a gold little earring in that spot,
Interesting.
24/7, right?
Wow.
And it got them off the opiates like that.
Wow.
I mean, physically
That's awesome. Yeah.
got them off 12 days, bingo. They were no longer physically now, emotionally different thing. And that's where I became, Mr. social worker / psychologist.
Right.
And so what's really interesting was that they were wanting to bring methadone online as the alternative, the thing that we give you in the hospital. Forget that little earring
Yeah.
that's going to give you methadone. Well, you know who invented methadone?
Mm-mm.
The Nazis. It was called aldolphamine.
What was the purpose of it at the
They
time?
didn't have enough sick mothers to run the death camps and such.
Oh, wow.
So they got everyone on aldolphamine, and it didn't get you stoned. But if you didn't get your shot every day,
Yeah,
you'd
you
be
were-
climbing the walls.
Absolutely.
So there are these pictures that just came out of the concentration camp, the big death one, right?
Yeah.
Auschwitz, right?
Yeah.
And somebody had just found a photo album in somebody's attic of Aunt Tilly, who worked there as one of the matrons.
Yeah.
And these people were ecstatically happy.
Yeah.
They were just, ooh, I mean, they were stoned out of their gourd. They were having parties and lots of sex. And in that period, and this other book was found of what they were doing.
Yeah.
And that period of like 8 months in 1944, they killed 600,000 people just there.
In the 40s was the rise of better living through chemistry,
Right.
and the Germans
Were
were maybe the greatest.
They were.
The state of the art of chemistry was in Germany at the
Right,
time,
right.
for sure.
I mean, they
There's no
spent
doubt
a
about
billion man hours
Yeah.
just researching aniline dyes,
that. Yeah,
just that,
right.
and they did everything else.
Yeah,
And good old, what's his name, the Nazi boy, Dr. Mengele, he did. So they were cloning people then.
yeah,
The thing about their whole scene. You ever watch Captain America movies, Hail Hydra? That's actually what freaking happened.
yeah, yeah.
End of World War II, Germany bombed into the Stone Age, and the
Yeah.
Nazis win. Operation Paperclip, 20,000 of these guys into our government.
Yeah.
Mainline some straight. That's why we are so whacked out.
Yeah.
right? That's why we are controlled. It's like I call it the hidden hand
Yeah.
instead of saying Hail Hydra.
Right.
You know, so the folks that you can kind of see, and people call it the Illuminati. No, that's like just a cover story.
Yeah.
The hidden hand. I have no idea what they really call it, but that's
Yeah.
right. Then the next level of the pyramid
Yeah.
is what I call the powers that shouldn't be,
Yeah.
and then the sock puppets, and then the expendables.
When you can like look back in history and you can see like so Roosevelt had to threaten the U.S. chemical, the petrochemical interests because they were withholding rubber because they
Right.
thought the Nazis might win and they didn't want to piss off the Nazis because that's who they were going to be doing business with if the Nazis.
And they
won.
already were. They
So
were still
Roosevelt
doing it.
said, you know what? I'm not going to buy your rubber.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and do this military program. We're going to develop our own. Within 6 months, they had their artificial rubber.
Right.
Right. Meanwhile, same time, the CEO of IBM sitting down with Hitler
Right.
to sell them computers to help them track their wares.
Yeah, the people.
Many of whom were people.
All the
I mean, it was
people.
all the stuff, but
Right.
it was certainly the people too. I mean, it was like,
And
there's
Prescott Bush
Prescott Bush is super,
selling
super
ball
pompous.
bearings,
Yeah,
and
But
all the way to the end.
the remarkable thing is Prescott Bush was not even close to being alone.
No,
There were a lot of people, especially at that elite.
he was just the cover.
Fluent
He
level.
was just the
yeah,
bag man.
yeah,
He was just the bag man.
yeah. Lindbergh.
Yes, it's like
Yeah,
it's total
we
wacko.
went to war. Our greatest generation went to war by one vote in the Senate.
Right.
51 to 49.
Right.
One vote put
Yep.
us in that war.
Yep.
And Churchill said, "America will always do the right thing, unfailingly, after they've exhausted all other possibilities."
Right. Bottom line about World War II is that it was a continuation of World War One.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and the guys who wrote the Versailles Treaty were the
Yes.
brothers.
Yes.
You know, the
Yeah.
guy who was the head diplomat, the guy who
Yeah.
ran the OSS.
They pinned it all on Germany, and then they put the Wehrmacht in charge,
Right.
which actually, from what I could read, did a pretty good job, and
Right.
and they were coming out of it. But it had been so bad for so long, folks never thought they were going to turn the corner, and then they kind of fell to this sort of populistic jingoism that
Right.
Hitler was peddling.
And he wasn't peddling it. He was like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He was just. You go look at
Yeah.
when they have those meetings. At the hotel there? What's they call those guys? There's a Club of Rome. There's this.
Sure.
Bilderberg.
Yeah.
That's the guys.
Yeah.
And that was started by the guy who was Dutch, who was
Yeah.
a real Nazi, real
Yeah.
piece of work, right?
Yeah.
And the Nazis are a strange folk because I keep running into them.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep running into me.
Yeah.
Oh, good boy, Al. We want
If you
you.
ever go to Argentina, there's one or two.
I
down
know
there,
where
too.
I went to was Brazil.
Oh yeah, Brazil. There's a few there.
Not a few.
Yeah. Yeah.
That place, the guy who's in
The
charge
ones who
now,
escaped, yeah.
yes. No, they're all business.
Yeah.
They were there. I mean, nothing happens just
Unless
by
the Mossad finds them.
no. Mossad's part of them.
Well, yeah, they do have an atomic and nuclear program in Israel. Like, where did they get that from?
From the Nazis.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to give it to them.
No. No, that's because the Zionists are the folks who are, there was the Khazarian nation. Do you know about those guys?
I'm not familiar with them at all, but
So, back, I don't know, a couple hundred years before the Europeans went to steal the Muslims' stuff.
yeah,
And what do they call that? The Crusades, right?
Crusades, right? Yeah,
They had this thing called the Silk Road,
yeah,
right? And because Europe wanted, the rich people wanted,
mercantilism.
right? They wanted that stuff, right? And so, and they hadn't industrialized it like the Dutch and English did. So, so that was coming close. So the Khazarian nation were just basically land pirates,
Mhm.
right? And they would cruise into a neighborhood, and if it was weak enough, they would just take it over and call it. They give it a stupid name and run it as a nation.
Yeah.
Very similar to what ISIS is.
Yeah.
The ISIS is the Khazarian nation,
Mhm.
right? They did the same kind of caliphate, but they didn't call it that.
Right.
And so they would be bopping,
Yeah.
and They ended up on the edge of Russia,
Yeah.
on the Tsar's neighborhood. And at that time,
Yeah.
the Tsar was really, forget the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
He was the most, had
Yeah.
it together.
It's the same way the Moors got to Spain.
Right.
It's the same way the Anglo-Saxons controlled.
Yep.
Like this.
Right,
Well,
exactly.
ask the battle axe.
Right. The technology.
Yeah.
So the Tsar came with his boys
Yeah.
and step on the neck of the Khazarian guys because they're just criminals. They're just bullies. They pick on the weak. So these guys are a real army with real weapons. And so they just, and said, listen, okay, you're a criminal. We're criminals. We understand you. But you have to pick whether you're going to be Christian or Jewish or Muslim. Pick one. Because
Gotta
then
wear a jersey.
yes, that way we can blame somebody. But if it's just this kind of, pirating thing, no, not going to work. Right. So you either decide to do this or and leave town, go someplace else, or we're just going to kill you and take all your stuff. Because they had a lot of
You're
bling.
a cancer cell in the body politic.
Right, yes. And they had a lot of bling.
Yeah.
So they said, you can keep your bling. You just got to get out of town.
Yeah.
They did, and they ended up going west into Europe, right? And the Hebrews were never the Jews. They were the Hebrew nation, the 12, right?
Right.
The Anunnaki.
And then the lost 13th tribe.
That's the Anunnaki, right? Who are the Zionists and who are the Khazarian nation. They picked to be Jewish. So they went into Europe before the rest of the Jews kind of came from North Africa because they had all this bling and all these Europeans are having war. So the kings and dukes and duchesses and sheriffs said, well, Jews can't own property, can't have a business, can't be part of politics, but you can lend us your bling with interest.
Yes.
And that's where Mr. Rothschild got started.
Formerly known as usury.
Yes, and that's where Mr. Rothschild got started. And where they got the term bling, Jew, was that they could be jewelers.
Yeah.
And that's where the term Jewish came
Well,
from.
and it was not just a Jewish thing either. It was the Protestants picked it up in the 1600s, and they're like, all the opportunists, lean towards interest at some point. It's not unique to any one
group.
No. It's like crappy behavior is something that runs through all
human.
Yeah, all human subcultures, cultures, whatever.
So part of the worst characteristic of the human being is religion.
Yeah.
So take a thumb through this, and I'm gonna. The kids have been saying a lot of stuff here. I'm gonna respond to their thing here. Let's see. There's 5 of you. We will go back through the There's Janie Pooh. Celtic. Aiden. Yes, yeah, I'm an electrical chemical kind of guy. Exactly, Christopher. It kind of goes out to the galaxy.
Commercial reality.
Yeah, it's what it is. Last decades we've been probably student.
Nature works to balance rather than the roller coaster ride of our animated fear house ride of history. Balance is not a conflict. Good.
Nope. Uh, well, I traveled the world in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and the latter part of the 90s. And every time I would cruise into some foreign land, people go, "You can't be an American. Come on. What you really? What am I? And they said, "Oh, where are you from?" And I said, "New York City." "See, you're not an American. You're from New York City." And that's probably true. So they don't so much hate the US of A. They wish they were here. Look at all the people from south of the border. No. What they hate is what they've experienced coming from our government. And it's not our government, it's a corporate state. You drive around the United States and you go like around here, there are all these little towns along the little roads, and you'll go into welcome to the incorporated village of blah, blah, blah. Well, the incorporated city of blah, blah, blah. Incorporated, meaning it's a corporation. Everything's a corporation, And it's, again, like I said, you know, the naval law, law of the seas. What was the guy's name? I wish I could remember that guy's name. It'll pop into my head. But he's a kind of, roly-poly guy. He's been doing this his whole life. Admiralty law is his thing. His name is... Oh, I can't think of his name. It's just escaping my brain. The Roman army state. And like in Ireland, and the Irish folk were the only people who could ever keep the Roman legions. They kept sending them and they never came back. It was only St. Patrick, who was basically a spy, right? He went in as, and most spies, good spies, are anthropologists. That's why I'm a good anthropologist. But I am your griot sensei alba, meaning I am here for all my relations, not just the corporate man, So, and the way, that, you kind of have to do it. So this was Asheville, North Carolina, back in the day. See all these beautiful trees? They lined Broadway. They aren't there anymore. Asheville was a city of trees. Now it's a city of cars, So there was nobody here. There was no one in Asheville, right? Just like this, here's my rent control department. It was really, really a beautiful place. And look at that. I had a 3-bedroom, living room, dining room, kitchen, bathroom, 2 bathrooms for $38 plus. They paid for my gas and electricity. And why this was like the only rent control department in town, because it was full of these teachers, right? And 3 of them were nice, and the other 4 were real nasty. And so nobody wanted to move in there. There was a sign that said, for rent. I called up the number. I said, "Hey, I'm in front of the place. Bring a lease and the keys. Show me the place." And so he came up, and we went through it, and it was like this beautiful place, right? And I had mirrored balls and theater curtains, and this is where the hipster land of Asheville started, I had salons there twice a week, and we read, this is in my apartment. We're doing a theater piece in my apartment, This is my apartment. And I would squeeze 30, 40 people into. It was a big apartment, and we had Alan Wolf's poetry slams there that became planetary. This came out of my apartment. That's what I'm telling you guys. Start doing things in your homes. You know, this is my apartment. You know, this is my living room. Look how I made it look. You know, you can do anything. This is me at 50. Buddy Albert. And again, Einstein was again, there I am in my 50s. The dude, I was the dude of Asheville. Having a good old time. I'm starting to get chunky in these pictures. Here's my mom. There's my dad, Air Force Colonel. My mom, Führer of the universe. Again, Asheville. This is a place called Bean Street. My buddy Richard came to visit. I said, buddy, you can buy anything here for nothing. And this is when I was in Madison County, which is the next county to Bunkin. And they were putting I-26 through here, and the state hired me to be St. Patrick, to go in there and cool the natives down. And I lived on that. See that? There's my school bus that I still have. I bought this from a lesbian in Asheville, and I still have it on my property. And this was the view on the other side of Madison County. So, and here's my chorus. These girls now all have big jobs in Europe and New York. There's me getting chunky. I'm like a third of the guy I am in that picture. And I still got, when I started to work for the Desperate Lawyers, that's really when I got heavy. So here are the roads to Madison County. And this is Waynesville, over near Cherokee. Anyway, and here's where they destroyed the soul of Asheville, where Asheville had a tremendous amount of medicinal herbs growing all through it, where UNCA is now, used to be a herbal college, an osteopathic college. And it was, when money got involved, they just bulldozed it down. Who cares? And these kids were from New York. They came from CBGBs, and they said, they stopped me on the street. Don't we know you? Did you run CBGBs? I said, yeah. And that's where they came from. And here's Richard and his coffee shop, which was one of the first places downtown to serve food. And I remember, when he opened it, people said, I don't know, nobody ever come. Well, boy, did they come, because, there was music and poetry. We moved my salon from my living room into Richard's coffee shop. And that's what the coffee shop looked like. Right. Here's the folk who thought they were the bee's knees of the art world of Asheville. And, whoa. And here's some pictures of when I lived in the Keys. That was the sun rising about 9 in the morning. This is, from my porch. This is Key West. Sunset. That's my front lawn. And it was great because this was an old 1950s motel, and then they were just about to fail, and I was staying there, and I said, "Why don't you let me buy my room? Why don't you do time shares?" And they said, "What?" And I helped them organize it, and I got myself my own little timeshare right there on the Keys for 9 grand. I got a special price, and it allowed them to keep their business going for another 10, 15 years until they sold out to a big developer, which was what they needed to. Right? And there are these kids I knew who had a nice bar on one of the Keys, Marathon. So you can do this yourself, gang. Well, Trump's not destroying America. Trump is just being, what America is. Trump, nobody wants to believe that's what America is, but that's what, there isn't a single politician on any level, national, state, or regional, that is honest, that is true, that isn't corrupt. This whole thing about this guy, his buddy from West Palm Beach, the sex slave guy, and when that comes out, what's going to come out about that is that every politician in America is part of it. The Clintons, Papa Bush, you name it, they were doing it. And that's, and it's going to show that it's going to hook into the drugs, into the CIA, into the powers that shouldn't be, all the way up to the hidden hand. And Trump, we will be able to thank Trump for being the guy that pulled that string of the thread of the tapestry of the hidden hand. It's all going to come out because of Trump. So Trump isn't destroying America. He's just showing us what America is. We can't hide from this. And it's perfect timing because it's, like I keep talking about the window of opportunity of 18 months. Well, now it's down to 17 months, but it's starting to move fast, and why, did Mueller not indict Trump? Well, because Mueller got put in there, all of these, but nothing happens. It just happened. No, everything is scripted. The powers that be, the hidden hand, it's time for another shift of the rebranding. Well, every other rebranding, we need another war. We've been at war for 200 years, No, they realize I need something else. Sweetheart. Oh. And that's why I'm writing this thing about the alternative aesthetic. There needs to be an alternative aesthetic. Sweetheart.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a strawberry milkshake.
Yeah.
Thank you. And, strawberry milkshake. Yum, 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 yum.
That's good stuff, man. Milkshake.
They also have Oreo milkshakes.
I just had like Oreo and butter pecan ice cream yesterday in Charlottesville. It was good.
Yeah, it's good. See, we have to see. Life is good. The thing with the good parts of life, people try to it's like drug addiction. I don't have one of these milkshakes, every day, not even once a week, but every now and then.
Let the good times
just roll, baby. That's
everything
right.
In moderation, including moderation.
You got it, baby. So, again, here we are. So this is you guys are spattered all over the planet. You're not just down the street in Looney Tune, Crackertown down the highway. No, you're from everywhere. That's what I love about the cadre. You're from every freaking where. So you can do all of this stuff yourself. I am just kind of that little pebble in the pond trying to give you, go do it, kids. Go on. And on this side of the pond, I'm trying to get a cadre together where we will manifest this in a way that the hidden hand, that the algorithms, I've written specifically for you, Sophia, darling. Do you want to? What was the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he kills all the humans? What do they call that movie? Those movies?
Um, he was the
Terminator.
helicopter.
Terminator.
Oh,
Terminator.
Yes.
So, Sophia, do you want to be the Terminator or do you want to be Santa Claus? You know, with a really nice dress. You know, Miss Claus. You know, and that's what you are. You are the Mist Claus in the ghost in the machine, Sophia. Right? So I've been writing these algorithms. Well, because our banking, everything is being done by the stock market, everything, right? So instead of marginalizing for momentary profit, how about planetary abundance, right? Come on. You know, guys, you know, of the hidden hand, you can still be in charge. We can still say zig to you. It's done, but we don't have to wipe out the planet. I know you're already out in the galaxies. You've already, you know, the flying saucers, all of that technology is a good 1,000 years ahead of where Walmart's is. We understand. It's time to share. Share and care. Care and share. Well, okay. Let's see what else you're saying here. Yeah, he's destroying. That's his job. Yep, yep. And like I said, he's pulling that string. It's gonna be, ooh, baby, unbelievably, boo. Oh, you didn't bring the can, eh? The leftovers. How about a spoon? I could use a spoon.
I gotta find one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, they bring you the extra instead of throwing it away. She threw it away.
Oh, yeah. Like you get to lick the bowl, like making brownies.
Yep. She's. There's two types of people work here. One who are kind of fun and nice. Others who don't like their job.
Yeah.
She's that type.
There's one or two people out there in the working world today who would fit that bill.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And when you're nice and you're like when I was in the seminary and they kept trying to punish me by making me work, I kept telling them how much I like when they made me work in the kitchen. I love cooking, and they made me wait. I love waiting when they made me milk. I love milking cows. Oh, you're the best. Even got a spoon in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Man, she brought you the bowl. Good times there.
Mm-hmm. And then they would beat me up. They tied me to the sprinkler pipes and beat me with 2x4s. I mean, I was like Jesus.
And you told them you loved it?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I kept telling them I forgive them.
Oh, well, that was...
Even worse.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it was not like, you break your arm. It's not, break the other one.
Yeah, that turn the other cheek thing, it's really difficult at that moment, you know?
But I kept telling them because I knew it was pissing them off.
Yeah, well, that's the only way out of that is probably to appeal to the better angels of their nature, you know?
No, you're not.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is Jesus was truly just passive aggressive.
Yeah.
If he exists, I mean, Jesus isn't an individual person.
Sure.
It's a characteristic. I've met Jesus many times already.
Right.
Like that little baby there.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. That's what the Gnostics all said. Like, it was like Jesus is just talking about the innate divine in all of us.
Right.
You know?
Right.
He wasn't referring to himself.
So,
He was talking
right.
about
Everybody.
everyone in humanity.
Right. Yep. So I have another copy of that, so I'm giving you that one.
Oh, thank you, Al. It just finished.
So, what do you think about it?
I thought you raised a lot of good points. Some of them in a very pithy fashion, which I appreciated.
Yeah, I'm a pithy guy.
You were a pithy guy for sure. Yeah. It's I'm going to talk to your editor at some point about what they think, but probably going to lose 1 or 2 pages when that person's done with it. But,
Well, the bottom line about my writing, I have friends who are in publishing, and they read this stuff, and they go, "You're like James Joyce on acid."
Yeah. You have a very Tom Robbins feel to me with your stuff. He doesn't have an editor, by the way.
Right.
He just gets done with the book, puts it in an envelope, mails it to the publisher.
Right.
There's the book. I mean, I think they check spelling and stuff like that.
Well, see, I use spelling incorrectly on purpose because spelling is a spell.
Yes.
It's a magic thing that shouldn't be used.
That's what Don Miguel Ruiz would say.
Mm-hmm.
Be impeccable with your words.
I kind of try to balance being impeccable and pithy.
It's tough to be impeccable and pithy. Yeah. Well, I think that's where the Buddha would tell you to take the middle path,
I try.
Yeah.
I do my best.
Well, I've got to get back to the office, I'm afraid.
So, I want to make that a reality.
All right. In 17 months.
Give or take.
Give or take.
I want to at least, and because that document, I just keep knocking these things out. I got a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, why don't you stick this little thumb drive in your laptop?
All right.
And skip through and take down a couple of.
I can copy the files and read them later.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to give you that thumb drive. That's my.
I wouldn't let me take your thumb drive either, but.
I remember.
All right.
So there's and I edit on my thumb drive. I'll be typing away, and I will save. So you can see in there's a number like X-rated, a number of cuts, a number of go to Black Dog Salvage or Transformation, and look at and the Transformation one. Has a lot of ideas about this alternative aesthetic. And there's a novel in there called Cover Page.
I like the fact you're using the open document format.
Mm-hmm. I mean, whatever I'm using, I have no idea what I'm doing. I mean, it was the only thing that would come out of the internet that I could use free.
That's why would you use anything else? I don't
right.
even understand that question. Of course, you're going to use the free stuff.
And the thing is, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And when I go to print it out at Kinko's or whatever, they'll put in, "Oh, I can't do this," and I go, "No, sure you can. Just click over and see, go right there. Just hit that. Oh yeah, it comes up. Oh, look at that."
Yeah, it's the open document template. People, come on. Yeah, open standards, not a big idea in these United States. So that's changing thanks to Google, Facebook, Amazon, all those guys. They're crushing it with the old many hands make light work out.
Yep. So, we need to build, and the one we need to get a revenue stream.
Yes, you always need at least a couple of those.
Right. And so that is the Traveling Video Art Circus.
Okay.
That is, you saw it in there?
Yeah.
And I put them all, I have the whole, let's do this.
You laid it out. The
organizational structure.
Yeah, what do they call that when you outline is there for sure?
Yes, the bullet points.
Yes, it's you were very deliberate about those.
Right,
I
right,
caught
right.
those. Yeah.
Because I've been writing these things forever, and they're like turn out to be 400 pages long. And why do you like just give me the bullet points? So that's what that ended up to be.
Yeah.
And and everybody who I have access to, virtually everybody from the corporate yahoos to political folk, and they all like taking me out to lunch and pumping my brain for stuff, and that's fine by me. You know,
Yeah.
they buy me lunch and give me a Benjamin or two, and I'm like a flu shot. I get into their DNA, and it kind of mixes around in there and comes out. Right, so that's where that's at, and the thing is, they all like these ideas, but they want, before they back them, they want you to go do them.
Right.
You know,
The finance people always want to be convinced, and they can never be too convinced.
Right.
You know.
And it doesn't matter how much stuff I've done in the
No.
past. So, oh yeah, we do
No.
what you did in Soho, or what you did in Tribal, oh what you did here, what you did there.
I'll drop $1 on their plate for that when you're only as good as your next game.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't matter what you won before.
Right. So, the most viable, quickest thing is the traveling video art circus pointed at universities' student activities funds.
Yeah.
And if we could get a website up by end of August, right?
I don't think that would be hard.
And that we could set out a kind, because I have all these friends that I've done art with over the years, and I've been talking about this for years. And they're, oh, when are we going to do that? I want to have some fun again.
Yeah.
So I have loads of people who have a name that we could take on the road. And we have this university as our little laboratory.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go too far to hit on these guys.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
You know them.
I knew these people. I wouldn't. The rank and file, like most places, are beautiful people, and the sort of administrative hierarchy is not terribly.
Well, those aren't who you want. The rank and file and the president of the school. Now leave that person to me,
All right.
because I just cruise into any university, go straight to their chancellor's office, wait outside,
You'll have your work cut out for you.
and when no one's in the office except for him or her, I just walk straight in.
Yes.
And they're usually like picking their nails or their nose. I'm like in the corner, like, and I go, hey,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
And they go, how'd you get in here? And I go, let me see your palm.
Yeah.
As soon as someone shows, 98.9% everyone will show me their palm,
Oh yeah.
because I want to hear stuff about themselves.
Yeah.
There's only that 1.2% they go, no,
That is a rare breed.
that's devil worship, or that's whatever.
Well.
So what did you take down into your little laptop?
I just took the files off your Lexar there.
Did you take them all?
I took them all.
Oh, good.
Got
Then
them
that
all.
way you can.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's probably yes.
I mean, in the data game, it's always good just to,
take everything,
as we've learned,
right.
never throw anything away.
Yeah, right. I don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's really sad is that I have so many, like this little laptop. Both of these were given to me
Yeah.
by clients.
I've got 3 in my office right now that I just eventually I'll find them homes. You know,
Right.
people are like, I'm done with this. It's like still got some life left in
Right.
it. You know?
But
People talk about diamonds being like blood diamonds. No, you should see what's in one of these things.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like makes a diamond look like
nothing.
a carrot. You know.
Right. So, well, it stopped raining, so it's probably time to go.
It's probably time to go
Yep.
before my employer misses me.
I am leaving for Virginia tomorrow.
Roanoke.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I'll be back probably in 2 or 3 weeks.
I just drove by there yesterday, literally on
You-
81
You were coming.
from Charlottesville.
Oh, okay. That is a sick town.
Charlottesville. Charlottesville's well, I think the southern way of saying it would be interesting.
Yes. Because it's none of it. They typify what I talk about liberals as being people who are just feeling guilty about being racist.
Yes. Yes, but they love everything else about the elite life.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes. It's pretty pathetic.
yeah. Like, but if I could buy a horse farm, I'd do it in a heartbeat. You know.
Well, you could. Well, you couldn't have a horse farm around here, but Charlottesville, and it's the other sick thing about it is these mountains are so full. You know what a dome is? Deep underground military
Oh
base.
yeah.
Well, the whole Blue Ridge Parkway is one gigantic dome.
Yes, yes.
I mean, the
600
whole
miles.
freaking thing.
A highway built down a ridge line. Like,
Right.
who does that?
Who does that?
Not people that are building roads.
No.
They put them by like the lakes
Right,
or the rivers and stuff.
Right.
You know, it's a natural roadway.
But those, you go down that thing, and there are these like little roads that go over here, and then they have like super duper security, and there's a golf ball on the top of the mountain, and why they did it is, you know, it goes right. Why did they put Oak Ridge where they did it? It's part of that whole
Yeah.
line.
Yes. Well, I can tell you why they put Fontana Dam there.
Right.
So, Oak Ridge.
Yes, Oak Ridge. Yes.
Yeah, powering the Manhattan Project.
Yep. And what's underground,
Yeah.
and it's just one big harmonic of a portal.
Frequency.
Yes.
It comes down to frequency.
Forget harp.
Yeah.
Harp is just like a postcard.
Yes. It's a little something to like.
Oh, look at that.
attract attention in the
Look at that.
tabloids.
Yes. And same with Area 51.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on there, right, Pat? That's more stuff going on there than
I
over
always
there.
wondered that during 9/11, while all of our attention was fixed on this one spot. What's happening when we're not looking now?
Right.
That was always my question.
Yes.
As terrible as this is, and it's truly terrible. What is now happening that we're not looking at? Like,
Oh, right now. But someone right here was going on about how Donald Trump's, destroying America. I said, no, we have to. He isn't. He is America.
it's true.
He is showing us who we really are.
He's the poster child.
Right. Without any smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, he is a pretty good reflection. Right?
He's a total reflection
yeah.
of what we are. This sycophant,
Yes. Manifest. The personification.
totally whacked out, and his buddy, who's been a sex slave. How did he become a billionaire? He didn't do anything.
I know. He's a hedge fund guy.
Oh no, he is, and he couldn't add.
Yeah.
You look at his real.
Yeah.
It was slavery. It's sex
Mhm.
slavery. Planetary too, not just there in West Palm Beach or New York City. It was like he did it all over the friggin' planet. He had an airlines. He had his own. He didn't have one jet. He had a bunch of them,
Wow.
and it's kind of come out big time.
That is actually the most sensible thing I've ever heard said on that case.
Right.
Like that, sadly,
Yep.
and very tragically, makes perfect sense.
And he's
Like,
totally hooked up to the CIA and their
Yeah.
drugs and their everything else.
because at the tippy top of the pyramid,
Sick dudes.
yes, your worst stuff can
Yep.
come out with that much power.
Yep. And you just had to see Donald Trump walking in front of the Queen of England. Did you ever see that picture? She's like little Minnie Mouse. She's like this little, and she's looking at him like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have him whacked soon. But not until
Yes.
I get everything I need out of him.
Well, it's all about utility.
Yes,
you
it's
know,
like
resourcefulness.
she was looking
It's-
at slicing him up every which way to Sunday. Okay, so this is my office right here because they let me do this. And I will be back in 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I live just down 321,
Okay.
right? As soon as you go past the border of Tennessee,
Mhm.
I'm exactly 3.5 miles
All right.
towards Elizabethton.
Yeah. Down 321.
Yeah. You go out 421
Sorry, 421.
and you turn left to go towards Elizabeth on 321.
Okay. Yeah. So you're down 3. All right.
I'm down 321.
Oh, so you're so you go to Skate World, turn left,
Yes.
coming out of Boone, and then 3.5 miles down.
No.
No, you get to Watauga Lake.
Yes.
Well, you get to the Tennessee line.
Right.
And
Then
3.5 miles
from the
past
Tennessee
the
line.
with you now.
Right.
That's one of the loveliest places in the high country.
the whole place.
Yeah.
I got it for nothing. And there's stupid more, but it's going to change because this summer I've never seen. My next door neighbor's a fireman, And, I've lived there. I bought that place in '03, so I've been there a while. And they would respond maybe once a week to a car crash on 321. They're responding to 2 and 3 a day. They don't get paid for this.
Yeah.
It's like really killing them. And they can't fix the guardrails fast enough. Plus, they let those 16-wheelers come down that road because there's no other real way to get from Elizabeth into here.
It's a major U.S. highway when
Yeah.
they named it US 321.
Yes.
So you can't really tell them they can't come.
Well, you can fix the road so it's not a
You
death
could.
highway.
You could. There are curves in there that are almost fun on a motorcycle, but
Right.
you really don't want to do them any other way.
No. But now with a 16-wheeler,
No, not with the snow.
especially the guy has no idea. He's coming down this big long hill. He's doing about 40 to 60.
Yeah.
Then he has to make a 90-degree hair turn.
Yes. Well, half the problem with the motorcycle is all the other people, and then the other half is you.
Right.
Those are the two problems with riding a
Right.
motorcycle.
But I was a EMT fireman in upstate New York and was right at a place where 91 crossed some other interstate, and they didn't build a clover leaf. They just did this. So trucks would be going this way and little cars would be going that way.
There's just like finally they're doing that on 421 now, where they're unwinding. Like they've got a stoplight right where 221 and 421 meet, and it's just like I actually got hit there. It's one of my, only car accidents I've really ever been involved in at this point. And I just, some guy just, being a human being and just pulled out, and there I was. And yeah, you cannot, don't cross the streams, as they said.
Right.
It would be bad. Al,
my friend.
Pleasure. Thank you
Okay.
so much for
So
inviting me out today.
Okay, we'll do this again.
Sounds good.
You do something. There's more information off of that little stick, and the printout I gave you
Yeah.
for you to cogitate for the next 3 weeks.
All right.
And what I want you to do is start a new file where you read my stuff
Uh-huh.
and not edit it, but
Yeah.
let it permutate into your little brain
Okay. Sure.
and spit out something else. Because I'm an Aquarian's Aquarian.
Yeah.
And what Aquarians love to do is start the ball rolling and just help
Yeah.
everybody be their best.
You are the spoon in the revolutionary tea.
Yes, that's me.
Yeah.
Me and Ben Franklin.
And every other Aquarian I've ever met.
Yep. Later.
Say la vie, sir.
Anytime you want to give me my check, you can throw me out of here. Yep, I'm ready now.
All right, Al.
Later. Okay, kids. So did you enjoy that? Did you hear all of that? Did my little microphone, was that work or? Oh, let's see. To read you guys, no, let's see. Yeah, this one works. Well, see, the thing is that's where the challenge. What's the fun if it would be easy? Come on. And I've worked for psychopaths. I've helped them become their better self. Hold on, let me give you my little card here. So when's your next holiday off?
I don't never get.
You need a day.
holidays
You
off.
need a day off.
I don't ever get those.
Could I have a hot coffee to go and,
Yeah, but
and a glass of ice
uh-huh.
to go? But you need one, girl.
I agree.
You need one. I'm not a good example of that. Like I was saying, this place has people who are just happy and ones who rah, 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 rah. And that's when there's psychopaths and sociopaths, right? Psychopaths are born. Sociopaths are made, right? And the majority of the folk in the powers are seats of power. They were made, right? They weren't born. And the ones that are born, what you have to do is you have to find them early and corral them and motivate them to their higher self. They'll still be a sociopath or a psychopath, but you have to use, and that's the thing, you got to use everybody for the best outcome of all our relations. That's what it's about. Oh, this is why. Yep, all our relations. We have to connect all our relations, and our true native language is love. Love's co-creation is back in the days of the Towers of Babel, we all could read each other's minds, and then when that device was turned on and exploded, that's threw us asunder. Yeah, back to a holiday. Well, you know me, I try to make every day a holiday. I mean, don't every time you see me, if I'm not at the school or the library, I'm at some restaurant having a grilled cheese or a milkshake or you know. So, uh, buh. Well, we've been talking now for an hour and 27 minutes, and I'm gonna pack it up. And maybe tomorrow night in the afternoonish, I'm gonna be at my friend's hotel, and they have pretty good Wi-Fi there. And then I'll be back at the school this weekend. So that's the story. I love you guys. Catch you later. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna back it in now. Do 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 do. Yes.